The Dallas Cowboys just walked out of round one looking like the biggest winners in the NFL draft. Because Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence didn't just fill holes. They may have turned Dallas's defense into something every NFC team should fear.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I'm going to sit here in late April and say it. The Dallas Cowboys are not only going to win the damn division, they're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And how many times have we heard that in Dallas, right?
A lot.
Oh, my God, this is Dallas's year. You know what? For all the criticism that Jerry Jones has taken, and believe me, a lot of it is deserved, when this team takes the field and the way they're constructed right now, new look defense, you add those guys to that defense, you add a pass rusher with twitch, you add the guy in the back end, the Dallas Cowboys are going to score a ton of points on offense. That team is going to be a Super Bowl contender, and they will win the East.
Go to the Cowboys. Speaking of a team that likes to talk, they showed that the we now stand for defense. Dallas drafting Ohio State safety Caleb Downs with the number 11 pick as they moved up a spot, and UCF edge rusher Malachi Lawrence with the 23rd pick after allowing a franchise record 511 points last season. Back with our crew here. Dano, did the Cowboys, did they win the first round of the draft last night? Holding those picks, also improving and collecting more with a couple fourth rounders.
Yeah, they had a great first round. I think the NFC East in general had a great first round, candidly. I think when you look at Caleb Downs and you listen to really smart football people talk about Caleb Downs, they rave about his versatility, his football ability, his intelligence. And this was a defense last year in Dallas. Their safeties were absolutely ate up. 72% completion percentage. They gave up 10 first downs, over 120 passer rating when quarterbacks threw that way. I'll be fascinated to watch Christian Parker, who's their new defensive coordinator, use them. I would imagine they would use Caleb Downs in a similar way that the Eagles did with Cooper DeJean. And then Malachi Lawrence, I was tipped off a little bit just watching Chris Long, the ex-great Philadelphia Eagle and Los Angeles Ram, or St. Louis Ram, talk about him. He raved about his talent. So a Cowboys team that had massive defensive issues got two very, very good defensive players.
And Graz right here next to me. Yesterday, we were talking about the one thing you can say about the Cowboys, they draft really well.
And disciplined.
And they did a really good job last night. How do you view it, especially moving up one spot, then dropping back three?
So they had a list of guys they wanted on defense, and really by the time Sonny Styles went off the board at 7, Downs was the one that was left. So they tried to get up to 9 with Cleveland, couldn't do it because they were worried the Giants were going to take Caleb Downs. And then after that didn't happen, they go up one spot just to make sure nobody jumps over them and cost them 2 fifth-round picks, which then they get back and more, getting 2 fourths from the Eagles when they trade down later in the round. So they end up getting their guy, the guy that can get things and keep things organized on the back end of their defense. I had a chance to talk earlier this week with Matt Patricia, the Ohio State defensive coordinator. I asked him about his guys. He said Downs is anything you want him to be. He said he's the best punt returner in this draft. Said he's better in the slot than we used him last year. Like, he can do that. If you go back and look at like how he covered Tyler Warren 2 years earlier or the year before. So I think they got the perfect player for them with their first pick, and I thought they got good value later.
I mean, when you look at Downs, I think everybody that followed him in college football at Alabama, when he walked on campus, Nick Saban was blown away. I mean, this young man was designing plays as a 4-year-old. He's a savant. I'm not kidding. His mom said that. He was putting together stuff, so we understand. What do you think of this idea and this fit with Downs here?
Yeah, I was there that first spring. I covered the spring game. I remember talking to Nick Saban and Kevin Steele, the current defensive coordinator. They both said the first day he stepped on a football field, he was an alpha leader for us immediately, and he was the smartest football player on the field as a true freshman leaving high school early. So you know the type of player he's going to add to Dallas. I also love what they did with Malachi Lawrence. You got a guy who had the second fastest 10-yard split, right? There's a lot of questions about, what type of product he's going to be, but he is dynamic and explosive off the edge when they needed that. So they have an elite tackler, elite leader in Downs. They address the pass rush. And also something we haven't really talked about either, the timing of George Pickens signing that franchise tag. Whatever happens, at least gives them flexibility today and through the window of this draft to decide what that future looks like if any other teams are entertaining that idea to trade for him.
Let's get our defensive guy away. And what do you think of what the Cowboys did? Because they had a ton of holes on the defensive side in the offseason. They addressing 2 of them specifically here last night.
Yeah, we're all talking about how Caleb Downs is like super advanced PhD level defensive player, but the Cowboys, they got to get their high school diploma, and I think Caleb Downs helps them in that way also because one of their biggest issues last year was missed tackles. He doesn't miss tackles. Another big issue, blown coverage that led to explosive plays. If he's as smart as we all know he is, he's going to be sure to make sure that defense is in the right coverage in every down and communicate that to everyone on the field. I think there's some things about safeties that go accounted for. And it's not necessarily all the big plays that they make, but it's the big plays that they eliminate by making clear tackles in the open field and ensuring that the rest of the secondary is in the right position. I think that's a huge value that we're not necessarily going to see. There's no stat for how many explosive plays that you've eliminated because you're smart enough to keep the defense in position. And then, of course, Malachi Lawrence, I think, is going to be a great player, particularly on important downs, 3rd and long, 3rd and medium. Make sure he uses that incredible 10-yard split to get off the line and get sacks and create havoc in the backfield. They did an excellent job in this draft.
Happiest guy in Dallas last night was Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator coming from the Eagles, and he coached the secondary there under Vic Fangio.
Obviously, he started in Alabama and went to Ohio State. I was surprised he was still there for Dallas to take him, and as a team that roots for someone they play against in the NFC East, I wasn't thrilled to see him. I think that's a really talented player. What are the Cowboys getting in Downs?
Well, they're getting just what you said. A really talented player, but even a better person, a really good competitor, a guy that can run the entire secondary, make checks. This guy is he's a football phenomenon when it comes to instinctive reaction. And I think if the Cowboys are smart, they'll look at how Matt Patricia used him at Ohio State. He's best playing from top down, but he can play in a deep part of the field. A lot of people are questioning where should we play him, at star, which is like nickel. I don't think that's it. Get him in that safety position where you can move him around and make 1,000 plays for you, which he did at Ohio State the last couple of years.
I don't know if two-a-days are even a thing anymore in football, but when you work for ESPN, buddy, you got two-a-days. And I realize we're late in the second of the two-a-days, so I want to say.
The chat is saying they did. But look, for me, it was a no-brainer. Caleb Downs or Reuben Baines Jr., a playmaking safety. You hear a lot of people say he's one of the cleanest players in the draft. You look at his tape. You look at how he conducts himself both on and off the field. He was one of the cleanest players. That's what you want, Ocho. I want to be able to, if I'm a head coach or general manager, owner, I want to be able to go to bed and turn my phone face down.
And no, I ain't got to worry about you.
I don't want to get up in the middle of the night and look, I got 1,700 missed calls and text messages. So what did Dallas give up? What did Dallas give up to move up a couple of spots? They move up one spot, so you had to probably give up a 2nd round pick. Bain might not have to leave Miami, Ocho.
Hey, sure might not. You know what? I'm that YouTube TV so slow. I'm gonna just watch the chat. I'm gonna let the chat tell me who's going. Chat. I'm relying on y'all to let me know who's going. So I'm reading the chat. My TV not working. It ain't connecting to the goddamn box. Damn.
Okay. Okay. The Cowboys, they move up one spot, get number 12. The Dolphins get, the Cowboys get number 11. The Dolphins trade back one spot to get to number 12, which were the Cowboys, and they get picked 177 and 180. So that's probably like a, 5th or 6th round? That's got to be. That's late 5th, early 6th. Yeah. Okay. So that's two 5th rounders. 77 and 80.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes. Or you don't want to run the risk of somebody else moving up. Maybe they thought maybe they didn't think Miami was going to take Downs, but they didn't want to run the risk of somebody else moving up to that 11th spot and taking Downs. Because at that point in time, I'm sure they probably had him very high on their board. extremely high on their board. And here he is, kind of like the Michael Parsons. And they ended up doing a deal with the Eagles. They said, look, we'll trade you, but just don't take we give you our word, we're not taking Parsons. Psych! But they took Smitty, and then Smitty went 10, and Parsons, if I'm not mistaken, went 11. According to Albert Breer, one head coach earlier today told him Vegas odds on the guy with the best chance to get a gold jacket is Caleb Downs.
I mean,
of all the guys,
right? All the guys that drafted in general.
Ooh,
that's high praise. That's high praise.
I've heard a lot of people say that, Ocho. He's the cleanest player in the draft.
I like that.
Less margin, and I hate using the term bust, but the less margin of a guy that doesn't meet expectations. Let's do it. Like
I got you. I wonder why everybody's so high on him like that, huh?
Solid. I mean, played Alabama, so he's well coached under Coach Saban. Then he goes to Ohio State. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he win the Biletnikoff Award? Not the Biletnikoff, the Thorpe Award. Downs racked up 257 combined tackles, 16 tackles for losses, a sack and a half, 6 picks, 12 pass defense, 3 forced fumble, and a pair of punt return touchdowns in 3 seasons in college, and gave up exactly this many touchdowns in coverage in his time at Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
He won the Thorpe Award,
Nice.
Ocho, as the nation's top cornerback.
And he was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year.
Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. So think about that now. Look at the guys that's on his roster.
Yeah.
And he was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. They got Reese. They got Style. They got Big Mac. He was Defensive Player of the Year, Ocho. That speaks volume.
Yeah, he the real deal.
Yeah. I like it. I like the pick. I thought he should come off the board right about here. I thought Miami was going to take him. The Cowboys clearly thought Miami or were worried about somebody else zooming up to that spot and taking him. And they say, you know what, for two fifth-round picks,
we'll take that.
That's a small consolation to give up. But Caleb Downs is a Cowboy. Hey, Joe happy. Because he wanted Caleb Downs last night.
Did.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.